now we're going to do problem 10, multiplying matrices. This is a couple steps to this problem because we're not just multiplying matrices, we're also figuring out two systems of linear equations, and then we're going to solve for those variables. So stay with me. So first we're left with these, or we're given these two matrices to multiply, and these are the answers, right? So we have to walk through our steps. We know that we have to multiply. When we want the first row, first column element, we have to multiply the first row by the first column, right? So we have 2 times A plus 1 times C. And that's going to give us 8. Well, now let's see what's going to give us the first row, second column. In order to get the first row, second column, we have to multiply the first row by the second column. So we have first row, second column, 2 times B, 2B, 1 plus 1 times D, and that's going to equal -5. You can see how these kind of look similar, except their answers are different, right? A little bit of a trend there. So now we're going to go ahead and see what's going to give us our first row, second row, first column. So we're going to multiply our first row by our second row, by our first column. 1 times A is just going to be A, and then we're going to do plus 3 times C, and that's going to give us 9. And that's our answer. Now we want this one right here, second row, second column. 1 times B, so it's going to be B, plus 3 times D, and that's going to give us -5. Again, you can see how these match up and look alike. A little bit of a trend. Okay, so now we're left with two systems of linear equations that we can solve out. The A and the C essentially being an x and a y, and a B and a D essentially being an x and a y as well. So we can solve these out any way you want. I'm going to choose to do elimination by addition. So I'm going to multiply this second one by a -2, right? So then that's going to become a -2a minus 6c equals -18, right? Then I'm going to add these two together now. I'll get a 0. This will cancel out. I have a 1 minus 6 is going to give me a -5. And then an 8 minus 18 is going to give me a -10. So I can divide, and C is going to give me a 2. Well, now we can plug in a 2 into this equation right here for C. So we're left with, it's saying we have 2a plus a 2 equals 8. Well, we can subtract that 2 from both sides. Just erase that right there. We're left with 2a equals 6. We divide that by 2. We know that a is going to give us what? A 3. So those two variables are solved. Now we're going to move on to the next two steps. I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to multiply this by -2 because, again, these are essentially the same. So I can work them out identically the same. It's going to give me a -2b minus the 6d equals a positive 10 because it's a negative times a negative. Forget about that now. We're going to add them together. These are going to cancel. We got a 0. We're going to get a -5 here again. And then we're going to get a 5. Divide by that -5. D is going to give us a -1. I'm going to go back up here and plug it in. 2b minus 1 equals -5. Well, simple algebra back, okay? We're going to add the 1 on both sides. 2b equals a -4. Divide, we know that b is going to give us a -2. And that's it. Those are our answers. A lot of steps, but all comes back down to algebra.